Would everybody please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance led by the Honorable Councilwoman Laura Toy.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Councilman Toy. Thank you for everybody for showing up to tonight's meeting. We do not have any special recognitions or tributes, believe that or not. So everybody, welcome to the 2015 regular meeting of Livonia City Council. This is a voting meeting, and minutes of this meeting will be approved at the next regular meeting to be held on Wednesday, May 7th. Madam Clerk, will you please take the roll?
Councilmember Toy.
Here.
Councilmember Donovan.
Here.
Vice President Tashnik.
Here.
Councilmember Budzinski.
Here.
Councilmember Shield.
Here.
President McCullough.
Here. So we do have 6 members of council here today. Councilman Morgan had a work conflict. He might be trying to join later, so he is en route. Let me see here. I will now entertain a motion for the minutes from the regular meeting of Livonia City Council that took place on April 14th, 2025. Council?
So moved. Support.
I've got Councilman Shield and Vice President. Any comments from the audience on the just on the minutes? Okay. Madam Clerk, will you please take the vote?
Councilmember Toy.
Aye. I mean, here.
No, you're right. You were right.
It
You were
is
good.
aye. We're on aye.
Just say April Fools.
Sorry.
Just
sorry.
say
April Fools.
say
yeah.
psych.
Councilmember Donovan.
Aye.
Vice President Tashnik.
Aye.
Councilmember Budzinski.
Aye.
Councilmember Shield.
Aye.
President McCullough.
Aye. You had me confused because
I was
our
confused.
former Councilman Jolly would always say present, and it would just mix everything up. So inside joke, everybody.
Yeah.
We're going to go to audience communication. The council has set aside 30 minutes for items that are not on the current agenda. If you'd like to speak, make your way to either podium. You get 3 minutes, name and address for the record, and we'll start on this side.
Yes. Everybody's shy tonight. Hey, good evening.
Good evening.
Steve King, 33950 Coventry. Let's see. First thing I want to talk about was I read Hometown Life said there's 20 candidates running for council, but we don't really know how many people are running for council because apparently there's been some issues with some of the nominating petitions, and I was hoping that the clerk would let us know what's going on. I know they send stuff down to Wayne County. Things have to come back. I know Lucas McGrail was bumped out of the race, and it's my understanding if you make a mistake on your nominating petition, you sign the affidavit, and if there's misinformation on that form, then you're no longer eligible to run for council. So I'm hoping to get clarification on that. Okay, secondly, I attended the Housing Commission event at the library recently. I saw Martha there and some of the other candidates, and they had you fill out a sticky note, stick it up on the vision wall. And a couple things jumped out at me. Central gathering place, concern about the economy, and single-family homes. Those are the 3 things that I took away from that. I think that's the type of housing that most people want in Livonia, single-family homes. We're a bedroom community. And the concern about the economy was often cited. And for people who don't know or don't follow it, consumers are feeling very pessimistic about the economy right now, about their personal finances, the stock market, economic growth, and Michigan's unemployment rate just clicked up a notch, and we're now leading the country in unemployment. And here's some of the store closings that will directly impact Livonia. Joann Fabrics, Dollar Tree, Big Lots, Family Dollar, Walgreens, Kohl's, Advance Auto Part, Party City, Macy's, and I just read today Rite Aid is considering closing all of their stores. So I'm just putting this out there because this is a very dire and uncertain economic time. And that is the reality that we are operating in. And we have to keep that in mind as we move forward with tonight's meeting and some of the things. Thanks.
Thank you, Mr. King. Good evening.
Hello, President McCullough,
Hi.
Council, thank you for your time today. I'm here to speak with you about the American with Disabilities Act. As I'm sure you know,
Ma'am,
we're
could we
coming
just,
up.
can you just
Excuse me.
name and address for the record, then we'll restart
Of
your
course,
time.
sorry.
Making sure.
Thank you. Oh, absolutely. Thank you.
Yeah.
My name is Nicole Reed. I am at 43646 Lombardi Drive in Canton.
Thank you.
I'm here to speak with you today about the Americans with Disabilities Act. As I'm sure you know, we are coming up on the 35th anniversary of the passage of the ADA in 1990. This law protects everyone's ability to participate in government, like attending these meetings, take advantage of the programming at the library, and it allows for all children to get to their classrooms. Title II of the ADA lays out the physical requirements necessary for buildings and public rights-of-way that receive any federal funding or that house programs that do. There are very few caveats to this requirement, and unfortunately, age is not one of them. There is no grandfather clause in the ADA. There are some important dates to remember. Buildings built before 1977 are required to provide program access. This means that any barrier to program access must be removed or mitigated in order to provide access for both disabled and non-disabled community members. One example of this is an historic library that is able to bring a book cart to a person that has access to a catalog online and was able to request books. However, if that same library offered on-site programming, such as a children's story hour or held community meetings, then that library would need to take steps to make sure that its site access from parking to primary function area and its bathrooms and water fountains were also compliant in order to assure equal program access for all. Buildings built from 1977 to today are expected to be compliant with the most recent ADA standards. When the ADA was passed in 1990, programs that received any type of federal funding were to perform an accessibility audit. This audit was to be of facilities, policies, programs, and activities, making note where compliance was not yet achieved and was to include a transition plan. This is a public document to be submitted to the Department of Justice that strategically planned the entity's intended path to compliance. This audit and transition plan should be done on a regular basis based on the growth of the community and capital expenditures. Not complying with these legal requirements can have a real effect on federal funding, and I don't believe anyone wants to give Doge a reason to come looking. 25% of the American population is considered disabled. Disability is indiscriminate of race, religion, or sex. Each of us here are no more than one wrong step off a curb to becoming disabled. But these legal requirements help all of us. The teacher that uses the button to get into school because their arms are loaded with their children's craft projects and art school projects. The parent that needs to use the wheelchair accessible stall in a restroom.
Ma'am, that's time.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Any more audience communication? Perfect. Name and address, you got 3 minutes.
Hi, Laura Janica on Munger Street. Just got a few things for you today I've been thinking about. Repurposing a building is a hip thing to do. Young families like innovation, they like unique spaces. Young families also value inclusivity, and I have some examples. The Austin, Texas has built a 6-story, 200,000 square foot library that sits right on their waterfront downtown. They did not close any libraries after they built that. They have 23 libraries. And I did the math on that. It's more than 1 per 96,000, that's for sure. It's actually even near a homeless shelter, and they service homeless people too with as part of that. Livonia could have 3 small libraries. These could bring families to areas all around Livonia. At least 2 already exist. The most economical buildings are the ones that already exist. Some leaders in Livonia don't want to recognize that fact and say that buildings can't be renovated in an inspiring way, but I think they're mistaken. There are just too many examples, and I can't list them all here. But you can always call me. Most towns in this area were built in the 1950s after World War II. So what does that say to people in Livonia about their homes? Are we asking them, when you need something, to tear it down, build a new one? I just don't think that that really makes any sense at all. I learned recently about Canton. They have a thriving village arts center. They take a strong stand on the ADA, and they built this in an old Henry Ford Village industry factory, and they're still working on that. And it was made for veterans after World War II. They're also using their COVID money to make this better. This is their mission statement at the Art Center. Quote, "It serves as a nexus for the arts, culture, music, and community engagement. Our historic, multi-purpose art studio complex is dedicated to providing equitable, innovative, and inclusive arts programming and experiences for all to enjoy." I think I speak for many people in the city that don't like the idea of so many things being torn down, and there's certainly no talk of an art center or a place for people with disabilities like that. Canton believes that the arts bring life to the community. Imagine Detroit or Ann Arbor or Ferndale without murals or active artists. Artists often use discarded buildings, and they make them use their ingenuity to make them better. So I hope we have, just ask that we have a clear mission statement to what we're going to be talking about tonight.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening, sir. Name and address. You got 3 minutes.
Yes, good evening. My name is John Stemick. My address is 11035 Berwick, and I'm speaking tonight just to ask for support from council regarding the property at 11033 Berwick. My wife and I were here last year. We attended a few meetings, and there was progress being made on that property, which is supposed to be demolished. Asbestos was remediated, and other steps were taken. All the utilities were cut off. And that all happened like around August, September timeframe of last year. And we tried to give the process time, and we tried to be patient because I realized, there are a lot of steps involved. But much to my surprise, when we called recently, I learned that a letter went out just like a week ago asking the homeowner if she wanted to remove her contents, which seemed like really odd that it's gone on this long and that step was just now being taken. And I was also informed that the property is now, it sounds like, open to being purchased, that one of the people that bid on demolishing it was given the opportunity or expressed interest in buying the property, which I had done 10 years ago. The property's been vacant for 10 years and decaying ever since. So I'm just asking for help from council just to help me understand what the next steps are in the process, and if someone can just lay out a timeline, I'd appreciate it, and prevent me from occupying your precious time and coming back and looking for follow-up.
100%. I'll get you info. I'm puzzled. I thought that you would have been in a better spot. We were going to get you the answers. Right now, obviously, we're right in the middle of the meeting, but I've got your contact information. I'm sure we'll get to the bottom of it and get you every information, because that's at least news to me.
Okay.
Sorry you've had to deal with this
Yeah.
for another year.
Thanks a lot. Appreciate your support.
Thank you. Good evening. Name and address.
Christopher Martin, and as always, the great state of Michigan. I'm going to use one of Laura Toy's favorite terms here, cognizant of the fact. Okay? We have to be cognizant of the fact that the country was established on free speech, and I'm a real advocate, and I think there are others here too, and I think I can put Mr. Carter Fisher in that same category. But it was Jim Jolly, actually, who brought back free speech when he was council president. Prior to that, we had Kathleen McIntyre, we had Brian Meekin, we had Jimmy McCann, and we had Ms. Toy. And none of them really recognized that, okay? And the thing about it is that recently it was brought up about a possible violation of election rules in some way, shape, or form by people standing here and using 3 minutes. Everyone is given 3 minutes, no matter if you're running for council or the President of the United States. You are given 3 minutes. If you want to use that, fine. I encouraged people the last meetings to come up here and actually say something, state their name, and give some reasons why they were running and that type of stuff. Some took me up on it, some didn't. Last thing you need is somebody sitting up there, and I mentioned this, sitting on their hands collecting a paycheck. And that's how it has gone for years, actually decades in this city, okay? Now, whoever gets up there, I wish they would continue with free speech. Towards the end of Jim Jolly's tenure up there as president, and you were going to take over, Brandon, I asked if you were going to continue with free speech, and you nodded your head that you were when you were going to become council president. And I think that's very important that we continue with that. Don't want to go back into the dark ages with this, and that's exactly what it was. Okay, everybody has 3 minutes to stand up here if you want to, okay, no matter what position you're running for. It's equal time for everybody. Now, I know that some might use that and others might not. It just depends. But thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Martin. Good evening, ma'am. Name and address for the record. You got 3 minutes.
Sandra Raklinski, 17698 Vackery Lane. I was doing some research on the city of Livonia, and I came across this statement that says, the Rehabilitation Act and the Americans with Disability Amendment Act, that our city between 2020 and 2025 received $300 million. And my question is that fact or fiction?
With that, we'd have to, I can go to someone. This is your time, and I don't want to interrupt it.
Okay.
Council.
And because if it's fact, what did we do with the money if it was for the Disabilities Act? Did we improve the bathrooms, the walkways? What happened to the money? Thank you.
Thank you. Any other audience communication? Is this on the agenda or not?
Pardon?
No, if you'd like to speak on something not on the agenda, you got your 3 minutes. Yeah. Take it. It's yours.
Ellen Dorman, 17211 Mayfield, Livonia. I'm back again, and I guess that's what I have to do. They say you can't fight City Hall. Well, I'm not trying to fight City Hall. I'm asking City Hall to fight for Livonia residents to the state. I was given an answer 2 weeks ago, which was very generic. It didn't tell me anything I didn't already know. So the answer was nothing. What can we do? Can you do anything? Can you do an ordinance? Because right now, the homes, and the gentleman that first spoke, when he spoke about single-family homes, that perked my ears. I was not aware of that, but that's what we had. And we've had Laura Toy. 5 years ago, we're 5 years later, and I'm still in the same situation, and it's mushrooming. It has gotten bigger than what it was 5 years ago. I live in a residential neighborhood. I have a business next door. I have a business 2 doors down, a business, 2 of them right across the street, and a couple of others, and I'm talking within probably 6,000 feet of my home. What happened to residential? Those are clearly businesses. I know the state allows it, but can the city do some ordinance or something? Otherwise, anybody that has any kind of property that's a half acre or more, when they sell their house or whatever, as a matter of fact, on Mayfield and Fairfield, every house that is there could be made into not a single-family home. And I don't know, if you can't do anything, then say so. Do we have to go to the governor? Something. Because that's, I mean, within 6,000 feet, I have 3 homes with 2 more ready to go. That's not residential at all. And it's not the people that are in it. I want to make that clear. I have nothing against them. They all need homes, okay? But not in a residential neighborhood that the people that are running it are making $5,000 to $6,000 a month.
Thank you. Good evening.
Cindy Fleming, Woodring. I think what this lady is trying to say is these are adult foster care homes, and they are a business. And because she didn't say adult foster care, I just wanted to make sure that I let the audience know and everybody know, I believe, what she was talking about. These are group homes for people with disabilities, seniors, and that kind of thing, and they are for-profit, privately owned businesses.
Absolutely. Thank you. Any other audience communication? All right. Now I'm going to go to council. And for the audience, just really fast, what I'd like to do, and I obviously council can address anything at any time, but the council comments always follow. So Mr. Martin brought up, that's your 3 minutes. And so, council has the right after. And so I've always asked, if you want to reply to any of it, do it during council communications unless it's something that can be quick and easy. So just given the disclaimer on that, there might be some council members that would like to address some of those things. So we're not trying to be rude. I just like to, that's your time, and Councilman Donovic has a stopwatch, and we want to make sure you get every second. So with that, I'm going to open up the council for Vice President.
Thank you, Mr. President. I just had a couple comments on some of the remarks that came up on the Berwick home. I have also, that seems to be a thorn in my side as well. Coincidentally, my mother lives right behind that home, and we've been trying to get that taken care of. We had the property on 7 Mile to be demoed. It has been demoed, and this was supposed to be the next one to be demoed, and now it's been delayed due to purchase possibilities. We're trying to follow up on that and push that through. So I'm going to follow up on that again, and I will get back to you for sure on that, because I would like to see it done as well. As far as the group home situation, I don't want to put Mr. Fisher on the spot, but I'm going to. Do you think you can speak on that as far as, I know it's really a state issue, and I'm not trying to pass the buck, but what our responsibility perhaps could be there?
Sure. We've looked at this previously within the law department, and we'll be sure to look at this again just to come up with a more wholesome answer. But in short, state law allows these group homes to exist and licenses these group homes to exist in residential neighborhoods throughout the state, and our ordinances cannot supersede state law. Right. So we may have some ability to legislate sort of around the edges, but in terms of banning them from residential neighborhoods, even R1 neighborhoods, it's unlikely that we're going to be able to do that. Again, the law department will have another look at this issue. It's been brought up to us in the past, but really where state law supersedes ours, our hands are tied.
And that's what I figured was the answer, but I wanted you to hear it right from our city attorney.
I appreciate that.
Councilman Toy.
Thank you. My name was mentioned, I think, a couple times there, so I want to address the woman that has a problem or has an issue with the adult foster care. You heard what the attorney said. I served in the legislature for many years. I brought Lori Pahusky out, I don't know, I'm losing track of time. It might have been 5-6 years ago, to look at the sites of the complaints of people on the streets over there. And it is a state law, and that's who you have to take it up with. Your state representative and or your state senator and or, if you want to go higher, go to the governor, go to Dana Nessel, our attorney general, or go to Benson, our Secretary of State. I mean, I wouldn't suggest Benson because she really doesn't have a lot to do with group homes. So in all honesty, that's where you need to be. We're limited, I know, we're limited to what we can do. And usually those representatives are very, very responsive. Okay, give me your phone number and I'll help you call them as well. How's that?
Ma'am, we can't have dialogue, I'm
Yeah,
sorry, between
yeah,
this.
Yeah,
Why don't we do this?
I'd be happy to
Yeah.
help her out on that, getting through to Lansing, if I'm able to, which hopefully I am. So I'd be happy to do that for you, but it's not in our hands. It really isn't. And that could be frustrating. I know you're not, for lack of a better word, ripping on the residents that are in there, because that would be very unkind. But it is a business, and people have those homes. There's good and bad and everything, and some are better than others. But for the most part, the state monitors it. So, our hands are tied, and I apologize for that, but thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Councilman Donovan.
Thank you, Mr. President. I appreciate that. First, wanted to start off and say sorrows and respect for the Pope who passed away during the Holy Weekend. So my thoughts and prayers with all of the Catholics out there and all the country and the world. It's pretty amazing what the Pope does for our world. Then also wanted to give a shout out to our engineering department and DPW. I got a nice flyer on my door today. The contractors were out there in my neighborhood. They were digging up our service lines for our water, making sure we don't have lead service lines. And I think Livonia continues to lead the charge in that effort between Department of Public Works and engineering. And it's a big task when you have 44,000 homes in a community and you're trying to find, much of which were built when we used lead service lines. And they came out, and I have copper service lines and a copper connection pipe. So that's a good thing for me. But for the residents that don't know, Livonia is aggressively going throughout the community trying to find any lead that still is out there. You can visit checkyourpipeslivonia.org, checkyourpipeslivonia.org, or you can call and schedule 734-466-2019, 466-2019, and the city will come out here and help confirm what kind of pipes you have in your ground. Also, Berwick, I know resident, husband and wife have been coming to city council for a few years now. If there's one thing I can accomplish while I'm here for the rest of this year, it could be Berwick. And we accomplished 7 Mile. For the folks that aren't privy to these two properties, they were abandoned and blighted, and it's very difficult, as it should be, for the government to take property away from private property owners. There's a very high burden, but eventually the city was able to condemn the 7 Mile property, and then working with partnership of the original owners, they were able to sell it, and the new owner demoed that building, and now we're seeing a really great plan coming before the city to redevelop that. And I'd love nothing more to see that Berwick building knocked down. I think I toured it in 2020 maybe, and it was pretty rough back then. I'm surprised it stood up through some of these windstorms over the years. I'm sure you'd like to see it blown down, but I know our ordinance department is working hard on it, but there's a lot of legal hurdles and things come up, unfortunately. But I know city council continues to talk about it. I can't speak for my colleagues, but I'm sure if something came before us to approve demolition or something to that extent, I'm pretty sure that would happen. But we're going through the process, and unfortunately, government moves far too slow. And then lastly, I don't think we got $300 million. I know a resident talked about the city getting $300 million for ADA and other various things. Our finance director is shaking her head no. And if the city were to receive those sorts of funds, it'd come before the council, and we'd have to approve those funds and allocate those funds. But if you know anyone giving $300 million away, I'm sure the city would gladly take it. So. Thank you, Mr. President.
Yes. Councilwoman Budzinski.
Yeah. Another touch point on audience communications was a mention of the master plan open house that was held at the library on Wednesday, April 23rd. If you weren't able to attend but you wanted to share your feedback or see the information related to that, this is every several years, cities have to update their master plan. So this is us updating our master plan as it relates to housing. The website for it is a Bitly website. If you know Bitly, then you can just do that. It's bit.ly/Livonia Plan 2025, and that will take you to the survey. The survey provides additional information. So, if you have time, take a minute and fill that out. A few upcoming events. There is a Star Wars themed family night at Wilson's Barn this coming Sunday, May the 4th, from 4 to 6 p.m. I will also be there at 6 p.m. to give a community update, and I'll just be there to listen to residents who have concerns or share information about things that are happening in the city. Additionally, I had a coffee hour this past Saturday. I host them each month. Next month, I have a coffee hour on Saturday, May 17th at 11 o'clock. This one will actually be held at the Madonna University Welcome Center off of Schoolcraft. They've graciously offered their space because it's book sale day and the library is busy and unavailable. And I've also invited all of the council candidates, all 20 of them, to attend, and they'll be given 4 minutes to share who they are and why they're running for council. I won't allow folks to ask questions during the coffee hour, just out of fairness and consideration to everyone. But, we have the room until 1 o'clock, so if people want to chat afterwards, you're welcome to come and do that. And then finally, I know last year we switched to the big waste bins. It's a big change for all of us, I know, particularly going from a handheld size recycling bin to a 90-gallon, wheel beast, quite frankly. So if you're like me, it can be a little overwhelming and you wonder, am I putting in the right things? What am I supposed to be putting in here? So I've worked with Priority Waste, and their environmental specialist, Victoria Chopsky, is going to do 2 talks in June. Thursday, June 5th, World Environmental Day, at 6:30 p.m. at the Civic Center Library for all ages. She'll do a presentation on what can be recycled, how their recycling processing plant works for Priority Waste, answer any questions you may have. And then for seniors at the Senior Center on Friday, June 13th at 1 p.m., she'll be doing the same presentation. But to go to the Senior Center, you have to be 55 or older. So I organized both those talks to hopefully hit different demographics and work in your schedule. But the information, I'll provide a recap even at this meeting for some of the highlight things for those who are interested. So that is all. Thank you.
Mr. Chair?
Yeah.
I forgot something.
It's too late now.
Oh, okay.
The floor is yours.
Thank you. I want to thank Carrie for reminding me that at Cardwell Floors in Livonia, which is my store, we're having a women's connection. And we formulated kind of a group in the last, we made every quarter, I think it's been. And I know Martha's been there, and Linda Shield, and of course Carrie and others. And it's really a very worthwhile event. We go to different businesses and we chat amongst ourselves, have great networking, and sometimes great food. And I guess we're having a food truck that day, which is going to be June the 1st. It's a Sunday. All of you are invited, 1 to 3. And I think we're even going to design some flowers for everybody and give them a taste of what it's like to be in the floral business, so that it's Mother's Day and you have to have 200 arrangements made by tomorrow morning and delivered. So it should be an interesting feat, and I think we'll get Martha and Carrie and Linda to try and do that. We'll put them on an apron and we'll go to town on that. So it should be a fun event. And I thank Carrie for reminding me of this event, because my head's been in different places today. So thank you very much. And thank you, Mr. Chair, very much for recognizing me again.
I'll give it like 5 seconds if something else pops up.
Yeah, okay.
All right. Anything else from council? All right. For the boring stuff, I want to make note that we do have new data on items number 13 and 14. And with that, we're going to jump right into reports from the mayor and other city officials. We do not have any at this time. We're going to jump right into the consent agenda. Items 1 through 8 on the consent agenda will be voted on as one item. These items were previously discussed at the study meeting that took place on April 14th and determined to be non-controversial. Council.
So moved.
Support.
I've got Toy and Vice President. Any comments from council? Anything from the audience for the consent agenda? Seeing none, Madam Clerk, will you please take the vote?
Councilmember Toy.
Aye.
Councilmember Donovan.
Aye.
Vice President Tashnik.
Aye.
Councilmember Budzinski.
Aye.
Councilmember Shield.
Aye.
President McCullough.
Aye. The consent agenda passes 6-0. We're now going to move on to unfinished business. Starting with item number 9 is a roll call. This is a proposed amendment to the Livonia Code of Ordinances as amended. Comes to us from the Department of Law in reference to amend sections 110, 120, 220 of Title VI Animals, Chapter 1 for pet licensing policies. First read was given by Councilwoman Shield on April 14th.
Mr. Chair?
Yes.
I'd like to offer a second read and a motion to support.
All right, we have a second read. Any comments or questions from the council? Anything from the audience? Madam Clerk, will you please take the vote?
Councilmember Toy.
Aye.
Councilmember Donovic.
Aye.
Vice President Tashnik.
Aye.
Councilmember Budzinski.
Aye.
Councilmember Shield.
Aye.
President McCullough.
Aye. And the item carries 6-0. We're going to move on to item number 10. Is another roll call vote. Proposed amendment to the Livonia Court of Ordinances. As amended, comes to us from the Department of Law in reference to Title III, Chapter 4, which is Financial Ordinance, in order to establish a Chief Financial Officer position and designate the reporting responsibilities under said CFO. A first reading was given by Council Vice President Tashnik on April 14th.
Mr. President?
Yes.
I'd like to offer a second read and a motion to support.
Any issues with council? Any discussion? Anything from the audience? Madam Clerk, will you please take the vote?
Councilmember Toy.
Aye.
Councilmember Donovic.
Aye.
Vice President Tashnik.
Aye.
Councilmember Budzinski.
Aye.
Councilmember Shield.
Aye.
President McCullough.
Aye. And the item number 10 carries 6-0. We're going to move on to item 11. Is another roll call vote. Proposed amendment to Livonia Court of Ordinances as amended. Comes to us again from the Department of Law in reference to Title II, Chapter 13, Department of Information Systems, in order to designate the city's Chief Financial Officer as a direct manager of the Director of Information Systems. A first read was given by Council Member Laura Toy on April 14th. Council?
Thank you, Mr. President. I will offer second reading on this and move this for approving. This is long time waiting.
Yes.
Yes.
Any comments from council? Anything from the audience? No. And just to kind of, I want to touch base because it seems like we're kind of rushing through these. When we do the study meeting, we had, I think, 2 other meetings on this where we talked a lot more than we normally talk. And I know you guys love to hear us talk. But there was a lot, and you guys can review them in the minutes, yes. So we don't take these lightly. This is a reorg of some city departments. Talked in discussion, so that's just kind of how we're moving it quick. So with that, Madam Clerk, will you please take the vote?
Councilmember Toy.
Aye.
Councilmember Donovic.
Aye.
Vice President Tashnik.
Aye.
Councilmember Budzinski.
Aye.
Councilmember Shield.
Aye.
President McCullough.
Aye. And item 11 carries 6-0. We're going to move on to item number 12 is a roll call. It's a proposed amendment to the Livonia Code of Ordinances as amended. Comes to us again from the Department of Law in reference to Title II by repealing Chapter 25, which is Capital Improvement Ordinance, in its entirety. First reading was given by Councilmember Rob Donovic on April 14th. Council.
Mr. President?
Yes.
I'd like to offer a second read and move to approve.
All right. Council. Audience. Madam Clerk, will you please take the vote?
Councilmember Toy.
Aye.
Councilmember Donovic.
Aye.
Vice President Tashnik.
Aye.
Councilmember Budzinski.
Aye.
Councilmember Shield.
Aye.
President McCullough.
Aye. And item 12 carries 6-0. We are now going to move on to item 13 as request consideration of placing millage request on the August 2025 primary election ballot. This comes to us from the Office of the Mayor for the purpose of Civic Center Campus Site Improvements Council.
Mr. President?
Yes.
I'd like to offer a motion to approve.
Support.
The floor is yours if you'd like to speak a little bit more. If not, I might hand it over to the mayor. Maybe, Mayor, would you like to give a quick little rundown on it?
Sure, if you don't mind.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you, I appreciate it. Well, good evening, council. This is an exciting night. This is our chance to come together to advance a community-driven solution to 2 problems that are going to challenge our city over the course of the next 10 to 20 years. And we've been talking about this for quite some time. We've been talking about the outdated municipal buildings that are no longer meeting the needs of our residents or our workforce. And we've been talking about a declining and an aging population. And while cities all around us are growing, Livonia's population is shrinking. Our children are leaving and our families are looking elsewhere for opportunities. And if we do nothing, we find ourselves falling further behind. But tonight is not about doing nothing. Tonight is about doing something. It is putting forward one solution to two major problems. And that solution comes in the form of the Municipal Facilities Bond Proposal, which we're calling the Livonia Built Bond Proposal. In your notes, it's the Municipal Facilities Bond Proposal, and that is hopefully how it will appear on the ballot. Before you tonight is a plan that is going to reverse this trend by asking our community to invest in its safety, its children, and its future. By placing this on the August 5th ballot, you will be asking the community to invest $150 million over the course of the next 25 years to modernize our police and our fire stations, to build a new state-of-the-art library, and to create a central gathering space and bike paths to keep families in Livonia and to attract some new ones. This is an investment in our future, not just an investment in our buildings. It's an investment in belonging. We all recognize this is a tough time to ask for funding and to ask for that kind of investment. A number of residents even pointed that out tonight. But together, we have really worked hard to come up with something that we believe is affordable over the long haul for our residents. Even with this bond, Livonia's property taxes continue to be the second lowest in Wayne County. Together, what we have been studying over the past 5 years is how we need to best apply funds to manage our assets. It started back in 2020, as many of you recall, with a bold request on behalf of the city to take a look at its asset management plan and where we were in managing our structures. And this was something that not only this council, but the council previous to this embraced and moved forward. And we looked at all of our city buildings located on the central campus, plus the Sandberg Library, plus our 4 ancillary fire stations. And that represents most of the property that is managed by the city of Livonia. We looked at a lot of different options. We looked at what it was going to take to just get buildings to a good standard. We looked at what it was going to take to renovate buildings, because that subject comes up a lot. And we found that really we have a lot of original construction that includes steel and concrete and structural walls that makes retrofitting extremely costly and difficult. So tonight, what you have before you are the components of the Livonia Built Bond Proposal, which reimagines where our city buildings can be placed on our city property to take the greatest advantage of that need to upgrade our facilities while transforming our city center at the corner of 5 Mile and Farmington. And here are the things that it includes. It includes the construction of a new police headquarters adjacent to the courthouse for efficiency and access. The modern facility will include updated technology and a secure parking structure, which is really important to improving operations and officer safety. This investment will equip our first responders with the amenities that are required to help them serve the community while offering a new space intended to help attract and retain top-notch talent. We're going to be adding and renovating the main fire station and making major upgrades to the 4 other fire stations in our city. And this is going to enhance safety and accommodate modern equipment. Today's facilities are outdated and in need of significant updates to ensure current health and safety standards are being met. Through these improvements, Livonia firefighters will have up-to-date and necessary resources to aid them into responding to emergencies quickly and helping them to take care of residents. Both of these facilities will also be upgraded to accommodate our accessibility issues and female firefighters and female police officers. We're also talking about a new state-of-the-art library at the Civic Center featuring flexible learning spaces, modern technology, and family-friendly programming areas. It will replace the 40-year-old Bennett Library with a fully accessible, efficient building to better serve the community's educational and technological needs. And finally, the proposal also includes a central gathering plaza and connected bike and walking loop through the Civic Center campus that will serve as a hub for our community events and celebrations and all of those feature programs that we have in our community, and it'll be activated by the library, which will be positioned at the head of it. Pathways will link to existing parks, enabling residents of all ages a safe and walkable access to recreation. Now, the Livonia Built Bond Proposal is more than a bond proposal, and we all know this. It is a commitment to our city's future. By investing now in public safety in the places where our children learn and play, in the infrastructure that keeps Livonia thriving, we're making certain that our city remains a place where families want to stay and new residents want to call home. I cannot express enough to all of you how grateful I am for the time that each of you has taken to really dive in on this issue. We have spent since 2020 thoroughly studying this, and you have been right there through all of these decisions, step by step, stopping, asking important questions, determining whether we make a big decision to include a library in the proposal, determining how much property we want to reinvest in and we want to make available for future development, all of those critical decisions, determining things like the future of Nehazel Park and its location. All of those things, you have been right by our side, helping us to make what I believe is the single best proposal for Livonia residents to vote on in August. You've spent a lot of time on this proposal, and it is, I think, going to pay off for us in making certain that we have the vibrant city to offer our residents, the vibrant city that they deserve. And these are not easy decisions, but they are decisions that have been grounded in a great deal of study and in a great deal of time and learning. So I want to thank you for being with us all the way, and I really look forward to the outcome tonight.
Thank you, Mayor.
I also have with me representatives from Plant Moran Real Point, Paul Tiero, who serves as our primary representatives. You'll notice in the audience a number of department heads who have been critical in the development of the plan. And we have Tom Colas here as our bond counsel from Miller Canfield. So along the way, if you have any additional questions beyond the many that you have already asked, the experts are in the house.
Thank you. I'm going to go to council again if we have any questions, and then I'm going to go to the audience because we do have a motion on the table, just to keep things in order. So I'll hand it over to Councilman Donovic.
Thank you, Mr. President. I appreciate that. Thanks to the mayor for kind of summarizing what this item is. It's interesting to be here at this point for the municipal facilities proposal. We've been at this since 2020 when we first hired a company, Plant Moran Real Point, to conduct a space needs assessment. And not only do they assess the size of our properties in our buildings, but they assessed in an asset management way to see how much money we will spend on these buildings over the next 10 years, whether it be deferred maintenance or just general upkeep. We talked about how big these buildings were. Plant Moran spent countless months with each department head and their respective staff figuring out how much space do you really need. What we found out is City Hall is far too big. It's 90-some thousand square feet. Plus, we need roughly 50,000 square feet. The library is 70-plus thousand square feet. We need roughly 55,000 square feet. The police department, right size, but it's an old water department building. And if you spend any time in that building, you'd see that it's falling apart, doesn't have the safety and adequate standards that most police departments in Metro Detroit and across our country have. Our fire stations are in good locations across our community. They're good sizes across our community. They're landlocked across our community, but they're in some disrepair. But they can have some much needed renovations to those stations. A large park gathering area, infrastructure. Everything I'm talking about is not a downtown. It's not a public safety millage. It's not a downtown millage. It is a municipal facilities millage. Make no mistake about it, the residents that are just maybe participating in a meeting or watching for the first time, we're talking a lot. There's a lot of things that have been going on, but we've had 15 committee meetings studying this very in-depthly. So you may have heard things that we're rushing this. We're not rushing this. As we heard from earlier, things take a long time in government, as they should. We're managing the people's tax dollars, my tax dollars, our tax dollars, so these things do take a long time. The city has went in a very in-depth process to figure out our facilities, and we're spending money on them right now. So as one member of the city council, when I asked myself, am I going to approve or vote to approve the language that will go to the election before the public, I am going to vote to approve this language because we're already spending countless tax dollars, our city tax dollars on these buildings. They're all available on public record. We keep investing money on old buildings that are falling apart, that are too big, and that were not built to today's standards. So I want to invest in adequate facilities for our community. I think we've come up with some creative solutions with combining City Hall, combining the library. We are one of the largest cities in the state of Michigan, and to no mistake of our library team, but our library is stuck in the 80s. We've heard that from some residents, and I think as I have children in the future, if I can find a girlfriend to marry me, I want to make sure my kids have a library for the future. And not for today, not for 10 years ago, but for the future. And our library staff work very hard, and we don't provide them the resources. We do not provide them the adequate facilities to provide our residents the adequate library programming. And we're going to do this. We can have a discussion about more libraries and less libraries. We're 36 square miles. We have 90-some thousand square feet, 90-some thousand people in our community. Some other communities in the country might have 665 square miles and 2.3 million people in them, so they may have more libraries, but we're not that big. We are a metropolitan community, and I think this is a smart investment. And one of the things that stuck out to me mostly is that we have 2 series on this, so we'd be approving up to $150 million. And we would borrow that in 2 draws. The first draw is $100 million. And then the administration would have to come back before the city council in a few years and ask us to approve the rest of the money up to $50 million. So it's incumbent upon the city council to make sure the administration gets it right, make sure that our vendors get it right, make sure they sharpen their pencils, because if they come here immediately expecting to get $50 million approved, it's not going to happen. But if they prove it to the city council that to finish the project that is going to cost the remaining $50 million, well, they can prove at that point. So I think it was very smart and financially prudent to borrow in 2 series, to put stop gaps on there, and to make sure that we might not need to spend the entire $150 million. Our experts have went down the line of crunching the numbers, and they believe that their numbers are proper estimates. And again, I think that borrowing in 2 series will be very financially smart and allow for some protections there. So looking forward to this, and thank you to all the residents that participated. We've had a lot of meetings and a lot of discussion about it, and I'm sure there'll be some more tonight. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you. Anything else from council before I go to the audience? Councilwoman Budzinski, if you got some.
Yeah, I know a lot of residents probably want to speak, and to start us off, I'm going to share, or not start us off, but just to follow with what Councilman Donovic said, I wanted to share why I'm really excited about tonight and about this millage. I grew up in Livonia. I'm raising my kids here because I love this community, but it also doesn't have a reputation for being an exciting community doing a lot of innovative things, a lot of investment in our buildings. One of the things we approved tonight was a change in our finance structure, capital improvement to maintaining buildings. It's been a frustration of mine how we've not invested in our municipal buildings. So right off the bat, I'm excited that we are facing this challenge head on and not kicking the can down the road. The last time the city asked residents for a millage increase was for the rec center in 1999. And that was 26 years ago. I don't remember that. I lived in the city, but I was a kid, and that was the last time that happened. But what I can tell you is we did it right. My day job now is running a media company for things families should do across Southeast Michigan. And I can tell you that the Livonia Rec Center and our park system, which is included in funding in that millage, is the best out there. No contest. Our recreation center is amazing. Not only is it amazing, we are about to invest a lot more in upgrades with the renovations that's happening with the senior center and the rec currently through funding through the state, federal, and county level. So no direct taxpayer funds to do those amazing projects. We invested in something 25 years ago. We got it right. It stands the test of time. It is still the best in the Southeast Michigan. I expect that this proposal will be the same. It will stand the test of time. We've all worked really hard collaboratively to come up with a proposal that we think is in the best interest of our community. We get to decide whether it's on the ballot, but residents get to decide whether or not it passes. And I'll say personally, I have great concerns of what happens if it doesn't pass. This is a conservative proposal in the sense of, again, we're going to remain one of the lowest taxable communities in Wayne County, significantly, and our, switching spots with Plymouth, we've done that many times over the last 10 years. It's not a new thing. And if we don't pass this millage, the problems that we have with these buildings, they still exist. But then we have to go back to the drawing board. As you heard, this conversation started in 2020. It's taken us 5 years to get to this point here today. And if we do not pass this millage, we have to go back to the drawing board and figure out how are we going to pay for fixes that need to be done, and how can we do them in a way that, we're an incredibly fiscally responsible city, but we use every single penny. Starting next month, May 21st, correct? We have a finance audit committee meeting. I invite everyone to come and see. We are in great hands. We have been in great hands, but what we haven't done is take those hard, bold steps to take the best care of our municipal buildings, to make sure that we remain competitive with our neighboring communities so that people want to stay here and that new families want to move here and choose this community over others. Because as it was mentioned about the economy, people are going to have to make tough choices, and we want to make sure that Livonia is a welcoming, vibrant community that people choose to invest in. So I am in strong support of this millage vote tonight, and wanted to share that with everyone. Thank you.
Thank you. Anything else from council? All right, so I'm going to go to the audience. We have 2 minutes on this item since it is an agenda item. So name and address, 2 minutes. If you'd like to speak on this, please make your way to either podium and remember name and address. Good evening.
Thank you, Christopher Martin. Once again, the great state of Michigan. And I'm glad you repeated that, 2 minutes, because it's 2 minutes on an item on the agenda. Everybody knows that. I don't know if young Mr. Donovic, if his Rolex stopped working, but the mayor exceeded that.
Nice.
Please. The mayor exceeded that 2 minutes. Here's the situation. If she wanted to talk for longer than 2 minutes, there's a spot called the reports from the mayor and other city officials. I can't speak under that particular designation under the rules here, okay? When she approaches the podium over there, she's the regular citizen. When she is on this agenda, okay, speaking on an item, 2 minutes. That should not be deviated. It's 2 minutes, okay? As far as voting on this, okay, in the future, when this is possibly on the ballot here for me, okay, I'm going to vote it down, as a lot of residents should. This is just, once again, it's the wrong time for this, the wrong economy. These things are just much too much money being spent on this, being basically, I feel, thrown away. And I don't care how many meetings were taking place on this, okay, on this particular item, but it's just a waste of my tax dollar, period. That's the way I look at it. And I would encourage everyone to vote it down. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Martin. And I didn't want to interrupt during the time, but normally when we do have someone, just to give clarification on while the mayor could speak for longer, she was introducing the item, she was giving context on it. That is, while just as if someone else had it. I understand, but
I'm reading the rules.
I hear you. Just giving you my explanation. Good evening.
Good evening. Jenny Krenz, 34075 Pembroke. I have lived in Livonia for 55 years. I have lived in all 3 zip codes. The present house I'm in, I've been there for 35 years. And I would like to make it clear to the mayor that I am not a problem being part of the aging population. I am the backbone of this city. I have supported every single millage, and I am supporting this one.
Hey, everybody, if we could,
Crazy hands.
Yes, crazy hands are fine.
I am supporting this millage because I want this city to continue, and that's why I have stayed here. The only request that I have is that you are fiscally responsible and that you do not go for the cheapest bid because then you're going to end up doing this all over again before this millage is even completely paid for. So good luck, and thank you.
Thank you. Good evening.
Hi, I'm Barbara Glover. I live in Myrna Court in Livonia. I just want to say I'm against the millage. I would support it if it was just for the fire and the police. I don't personally think our library needs to be I think it needs to be renovated, not torn down. We have not been fiscally responsible with the money that we have. Nobody seems to be maintaining our buildings that we currently have, such as Alfred Noble Library. How come nobody cared about that building 5 years ago and let it get flood damage and nobody bothered fixing it? So how do we know you're going to fix these new buildings when they start getting old? Are we continuously just going to be knocking buildings down and rebuilding new ones? It just doesn't seem like there's a plan to maintain buildings in this city, so I question what's going to happen with all these new buildings that we're building. And that's just a concern of mine. The economy's not great right now. There's a lot of us that are living paycheck to paycheck. We can't afford to have our taxes raised. I grew up in this city and have lived here again since 2010, and I used to visit while my mother was alive. And I don't see the point of, having my taxes raised for something that you may not be maintaining in the future. Thank you.
Thank you. Good evening.
Good evening. Margaret Earl, 31545 Pembroke Street, Livonia, Michigan. Well, I want to thank you guys for all of the outreach you have done. However, I want to point out that only the people who come to meetings, watch them on the telecast, or went to the State of the City address really understand what's happening and why it's happening. And while they may be familiar with Agenda or Vision 21, until you come out with the dollar amount, you have not captured their attention. Now that the amount is being publicized, I think we have a better chance of really getting them engaged. Now, I know they can go back and watch videos. As a precinct delegate, when I knock on doors, I know that people are going to ask, our housing stock is from the 50s. Why does a city hall that was only 45 years old or a library that is only 40 years old have to be taken down? I know that they're going to ask me that. And so I think that I need a little bit more time than from now until August to educate why this is being proposed and the advantage or disadvantage of it. A lot of people will be on summer vacation. They're thinking summertime. They're not thinking election. We know that from the August turnout. And they will feel sabotaged that this was on the August primary. In November, we have a much better chance of getting the voters engaged and understanding what you're trying to move forward. And so I would suggest that we postpone it, not revamp it, not revise it, educate it, and come back with the actual.
That's time.
In November.
Thank you so much. Good evening. Name and address in 2 minutes.
Julie McAvoy, 33900 Wadsworth Street in Livonia. You people have done, and your committee have done a lot of well-intentioned hard work on this proposal. But attempting to get approval in a primary and an off-season year is not the right time. Article 4, Section 4 of the U.S. Constitution also guarantees the states and Supreme Court decisions guarantee all citizens a Republican form of government. When this is pushed onto the voters, the residents of a city to vote on, the city council, which is the legislature and which is duty-bound to raise funds, and our legal department is also duty-bound to make sure everything is done constitutionally. When it is done in that manner and you give it up to the voters, that is a democracy. If the voters approve this by 75% or something, now we are a lot more representative. But in a representative republic, this is your obligation. This is your duty as the legislature to do all the studying and to determine that this amount of money needs to be spent, and then you decide how it's raised. The people of Livonia, this city is a wonderful city. My house is 75 years old, and it's not falling apart. It's not a palace, it's not anything fancy, but it is in good condition because we maintain it. There's no reason it's almost impossible to fathom that these
That's time, ma'am, but
buildings
thank you.
have to go down. Thank you.
Thank
you
you.
for all you do.
Good evening, ma'am. How are you?
Hi, fine. Janet Hartlip, 20244 Gary Lane. I've lived in Livonia for 45, 46 years, and I've been through all the changes. I agree we need changes, we need new buildings, we need new people. I disagree that our census is dropping. In my neighborhood, the last 12 houses that were sold, all were sold to young families that are still producing children. So, I think our census is starting to grow, and because that's Livonia's, it's affordable, it's got good schools, it's got, great parks, and we have a lot of pluses, plus low taxes. I don't know what this is gonna cost, but I know it's gonna cost a lot. And our taxes may still be lower than other, like Grosse Ile or Grosse Pointe or something like that, but I don't know if that's gonna stop people from purchasing a home in our neighborhood, and that worries me. And also, you've taken into account downsizing the buildings. Does this account for maybe future growth in the city? And what about the costs? Are we going to be locked into a certain price, or with the tariffs that are being, outrageous? What's this going to do to cost overruns? And that's a big concern of mine. Thank you.
Good evening.
Laura Janica, Munger Street. I just have a quick question. I may have mentioned it before, but you talk about how long this has been going on. You've been studying and studying for 5 years now? And how come we just found out about this library 2 months ago? I keep asking this question, and I don't get an answer. It doesn't make any sense to me how this could have really been thought through, and I didn't know anything about it till February. And it was combining a library with a city hall. That kind of breaks my heart. I took my kids, who are all grown, I took them to the library on a regular basis. I was a stay-at-home mom, and that's what I did. And I would not have taken them to a library that's connected to a city hall. It's just doesn't feel safe to me. It doesn't feel safe to take my little kiddos in a place. City hall's for business. It's for lots of city businesses, not for little kids. I really don't like that idea, and I don't think it's really well thought through. Thank you.
Thank you. Good evening.
Good evening. James Hooper, Livonia. I don't have really any statement, but I have some questions here that I would like answers for, Council President. Number one, what is the amount that is authorized by City Council to promote this project? So this millage, you're pushing a millage now onto the public, and it sounds like overwhelmingly the City Council is for this as well, but what is the mayor authorized, because you are the legislative body that would authorize that, what is she able to spend on advertising and promoting of this project? Second question I have is regarding the administration's tax graph. I was here for the meeting where, all the whistles and bells, and it was said that Livonia is going to be the second lowest taxed community around. And I want to know, how does that square up when we are forced to pay a Wayne County transportation tax in 2026, will we still come in at number 2? Because how's that going to be? A lot of these communities that were cited in that graph already pay into that, and we don't. So I think that might change the metric a little bit. And third, third question I have, Council President, is what is the contingency? And please tell me that council would have a contingency if this is voted down, because it's been stated very dramatically the emergent nature of especially the police and the fire, which I support. Would you then would it be reasonable to say in a contingency plan, if this is voted down, then to say, well, let's split these up. Let's have police and fire and then library and city center or something like that. Thank you for your time.
That's time. Good evening. Name and address. You got 2 minutes.
Good evening. Robert Bywalik, 13222 Merriman Road. Mr. President, City Council, city officials, Madam Mayor. As a business owner, I'll tell you, we pay a lot of tax. No one ever wants to see more tax. But I will say one thing. Who does not want to see advancement in the city? How about the vision, the plan, and the hope? I'm 100% for this. This is absolutely fabulous. And all I have to say is think about the city of Detroit. Did they think that years back? Look at them now. Property values. You can't get a place down a Friday or Saturday night to eat down there. Keep that in mind. It's a great plan. I'm 100% for it. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Good evening.
Oh, it's fine. Hi, good evening. Eileen McDonald, 36099 Brookview. Just a quick comment about the wording for the ballot item. It says it specifically lists a new library. It doesn't say a partial library. So I think it's kind of confusing. It's confusing to me, and I think it should be somehow worded differently. So just my thought. Thank you.
Thank you. Good evening.
Good evening. Jim Bigga, 35354 Lancashire. A couple of things. It's interesting to note that 2,800 people who represent 70% of the city want this. Interesting. The mayor needs a new job as a used car salesperson because I don't understand what we're being voting on. She says this is a 25-year millage. Mr. Donovic says it's 2 different submissions. That would be 25 and then another 25 for the second bond partial. Those are 2 different sets of numbers, changes. The square footage has changed, the need has changed, everything keeps changing. She also mentioned she hoped that the language would be the same. Is the language that you're voting on that has been shown to us, is that the same language that will be on the August ballot? She said it might not be. I'm very confused. Thirdly, and conversely, what is this going on? What's the rush? What's the rush? What's the rush? Why can't we wait till, like the lady over here said, till November till we figure out? I don't know what's going on. There's an audit coming up soon. You're going to fail. You're going to fail the capital management because you cannot be saying you adequately manage your budget and fail managing all the buildings. You haven't identified all the buildings. I keep hearing Noble is left out of all the buildings that you own. How many buildings does the city own and how many of them are in disrepair? It's not just this corporate park here that everybody keeps talking about. There's probably more. So let's get on with it. The priority is really the police and fire. We don't need this civic center. It's going to be wanting to be named after somebody who's sitting in office because they're going to want to name something for somebody sitting in office, which shouldn't be. That's my point.
That's time. Thank you.
Hey. Steve King, Country Gardens. Okay, the millage, as it's worded, has 4 phases. Campus Martius, where you all know, was voted America's #1 public park. Central Gathering Place, that's what I hear over and over again. All the sticky notes that I saw at the meeting. Central Gathering Place. I've been talking about Central Gathering Place for 30 years. We don't see a central gathering place in this plan till 2032. Many of the people that are going to vote for this, they're not going to even be alive by the time that something is built that benefits the entire community. My son just bought a house, and he didn't buy a house based on the police station, the fire station. Nobody moves into a city based on municipal buildings. No, he doesn't even know where it is. So we hear about taxes and money, so I brought my tax bill. Okay, city, Wayne County, school debt, here in Clinton, MA, Wayne County Safety, School Operating, School Sinking Fund, Wayne City Parks, Zoo Authority, Art Institute, and we're going to add the smart millage to that. Okay, that's death by 1,000 cuts. They keep trying to whittle it down. It's $12, it's this, it's $150 million. That is all not true. It's an over $200 million project, and nobody's taken up my challenge of a debate, my kingdom for equal time. You guys talk for an hour, and I get 2 minutes. So move this thing to November. There's another plan out there. There's another plan out there that should seriously be considered. And if we move it to November, maybe we'll have a chance to do that. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. King. Good evening.
Good evening. Denny Berenson, 20012 Wayne Road. I'm neither speaking for nor against the millage, but I am speaking for moving the election to a later election. It's been suggested both November would be better, next year may be better yet. It just wouldn't be right for a small percentage of this city to vote this in or out because it's too small a turnout at that primary. The statistics show it. Move it. Move it to where we can get better representation. Thank you.
Thank you. Good evening.
Hi, I'm Denise Micah, Lancashire, Livonia. Listened to a lot of this, and yes, we want to make Livonia welcoming to families and everything, but what I'm having a problem with is the whole entire design, giving up the entire property, more than half of the acreage here on this compound. And how is a 4-story building on Farmington and 5 Mile going to be welcoming? I personally came to this, I thought maybe the police would question me. I have a wheel that measures square feet and everything. And we kept saying, it's going to be better than Plymouth. They have under 2 acres. Well, do you know how much land is right in front of this that we put the entertainment out? It's almost 2 acres. So that's all we're going to get is a postage stamp. So how are we going to be innovative? Let's have 10 acres. Let's have a park. Let's have it. If the city goes so great, why can't we expand? We're going to have no room for expansion. We're going to be stuck in this walled thing that you have to come to. And who's going to welcome? You can't see anything with all these walls. And I'd like to separate the police and fire. I think we're, as a city, doing a disservice to those people who are committed for our safety, that we are not going to honor them and that we're going to give a piece of the pie away of Livonia that we've all loved in this area. And not 2 acres. It's got to be more than that. And that's where this whole plan is. Every little parcel is already pieced up. So you cannot, if you vote for this, you're going to be stuck in a little postage stamp spot for us to have an event. You want to have an art fair. You want to have something. You want to have Steve with his group.
That's time. Thank you.
You're going to be stuck.
I like Steve King and his group too. Good evening. Name and address.
Sandra Raklinski, 17698 Vackery Lane. I agree 100% with her. Not enough room. Should be a split millage. Should be on November. And everybody in my subdivision or my neighbors I talk to, nobody knows what I'm talking about. So I'm thinking 30-40% of the people in this city know about it. And I want to know what your plan is to get the rest of the people on board? How are you going to tell them about this plan?
Thank you. Good evening.
Lorraine Conley, Camborne Lane. I agree with Denise, I agree with everybody else. But what my neighbors have said, because, you know, there is talk about neighbors, some of them know about it and some of them had no clue what's going on, is everybody's really, really concerned about this inviting park at 5 Mile and Farmington that's really just the backs of buildings. And then no one likes that idea, and that doesn't look inviting. That needs to be re-examined. That needs to be re-examined. And I agree with, if you vote because you want the fire department and the police department to be up to date, that vote means you also vote for the walls against Farmington and 5 Mile. That's the worry, is that you can't, it's not split. So we're kind of like conned into voting for something we don't want in order to give the city something that they need.
Thank you. Good evening. Name and address, 2 minutes.
Greg Ralco, Golf Ridge Villa. I think you need to have it on a November ballot because you'll get less feedback, negative feedback if you do, because we'll have more people vote just as a natural rule. The way you're doing it means like you're trying to sneak it in the middle of the summer, particularly if you've been working at this for since 2020 or whatever it is that you've been talking about. Seems to me that you'd want as much buy-in as possible, and you get the buy-in by having the most access to a particular ballot. So I think November and not an off-year election. The second thing too, as I mentioned at the last meeting, this is a $200 million project. $45 million has already been designated. You got the funding already for the $45 million to build City Hall. Okay, because City Hall wasn't mentioned tonight because City Hall is already paid for the savings that you got on the Medicare Advantage by moving the seniors or our retirees to a Medicare Advantage. So let's not overlook that. The second thing is I think there is a Plan B, Carrie. Plan B is the police and the fire as a separate deal. Because what are we going to do? What are we going to do? Well, we don't need to replace the library, and we don't need to replace or add to that. But I think the city would support, and the people do support our fire and our policemen. We always have. So I think that's the other thing too. What the mayor said that we're going to get more population. I'm an empty nester. There used to be 5 people in my house. Now there's 2. Okay, and I'm not alone. A lot of senior people in this city don't want to leave this city. Their house is paid for, and they want to stay here. That's the reason why the population has gone down, and that may not change.
Thanks, Mr. Ralco. All right. Good evening, sir. Name, address, you got 2 minutes.
One more. Bill McAvoy, 55-year Livonia resident. I wasn't going to speak tonight, but I've heard this is a community-driven project. I don't think it is. I've been listening. 70% of the people aren't in favor of this from what I've heard tonight. I know everybody on this council personally, and I know you're all good people, but I want you to do what's best for the people. I think August is pushing it. I get negative feedback. Julie and I are precinct delegates for 14 years. Everyone we talk to are surprised to hear what's going on. So I would like it in November if it's going to be on the ballot. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other audience communication? Good evening.
Good evening. Ed Boyson, 9289 Liberty Court. So I grew up in Livonia, and I'm a product of the Livonia Public Schools, and I have a daughter. So we had moved back to Livonia because it is such a great community and to raise a family. I do have 3 brick and mortar businesses, so like as the other gentleman said, nobody wants to pay more taxes. But learning about the city center, it's really exciting to me because it will help draw people in. Because even as a family, we look for places outside of our community to spend time, whether it's a library, a park, or other things that are just new, that builds interest. Anybody who has kids knows that they get bored very quickly. So having something to do within our city, and then you talk about bringing revenue into the city for the businesses and the different organizations, it becomes a place of destination. So looking at the services, and I do disagree with somebody who said that people don't move to a city because of their public services. I think that's very important to people, especially a business. The response of the fire department, the police, and the EMS is very important. I do have my mom who lives with me. She's 88. The last thing I need is for a delay because of the services are inadequate to be able to have a good response time. All of the opinions here, I mean, we're all entitled to our opinion. I think tonight the vote is really to put it on the ballot. I can get behind August or November. They do have a good point about pushing it to November where the turnout is bigger. But I think it needs to be put to a vote and give time to educate the people of the city to make a formal decision come November or August. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments from the audience? Seeing none, I'm going to go back to council, and with that,
Mr. Chair.
well, yes, Councilman Twite, go ahead.
Oh, were you coming to us?
Nope.
Okay.
Good. Yes, we're back to council.
Okay. I don't want to get carried away, but in working elections and being in elections for many years now, the whole scope of elections have changed, everyone. And some of my very good friends have spoken against this issue. I get it. But if I can go to our city clerk for a minute, would you help me understand, we have 25,000 people that are going to receive ballots from you or our city sometime in June. Is that correct?
Yeah, our permanent ballot list is 25,548.
And they will come out.
And it grows daily.
Okay, and it grows daily. People aren't going to polls like we used to stand out there in the rain, snow, and sleet. And, you know, it was miserable for our candidates or for ourselves if we were running for office. That component has changed immensely. So if I'm running for office and these 20 people that are crazy enough to sign up and do those kinds of things and spend a lot of time and money, God bless them, to run for these kinds of seats, they're going to be out there. And I would hope most Livonia people vote in the August primary, because there's going to be 20 people counting on you to vote for at least 4 of them. So I think that's going to drive a lot of voters out for that, because they're going to have lawn signs all over the place. This place is going to look crazy and circusy very shortly when they can put up signs. And so that in itself will bring people out. Because I was like you, I was like hesitant. Do we do this August the 5th? Do we wait till November? Chances are it'll be snowing in November. So, because we live in Michigan, right? But, you know, it's an honor and a privilege to serve up here. Don't get me wrong. But I also look at this voting as a whole different animal than we're all used to. I can tell you that before, it used to be we'd go to the clerk's office and we'd have a book. Okay, don't date me, you guys. And we'd have our brochures and we'd write out the names out of the tally book, whoever applied for an absentee ballot. And we'd bring a card table. And I mean, you know, there's different ways to do it. And I'm sure, well, I know the mayor would remember that because she did elections back then. And it's changed, everyone. We've got 9 days of, what is it, early voting now, where people go to the polls early, unheard of. But the Michigan legislature, in their infinite wisdom, have decided that was more transparent, I think is the word we use, to go ahead and do that. So I'm not overly concerned about people coming on August 5th. Now, it's all of our responsibilities to get out there and work it, okay? We're not going to have term limits that tell us who we can vote for and who we can't on this one. You've got to get out there and vote and convince your neighbors whether you want to see it or don't see it, okay? That's what the democracy is all about, and that's what we need to do. So to argue over an August ballot versus a November ballot, I've got a hard problem with it because the whole complexion of this has changed, as I've just pointed out. 25,000 permanent and still growing. 9 days of early voting. Those people are going to come out. These 20 people are going to spend tons of money on this election. It costs a lot of money. Think of what it's going to cost them to mail 25,000 absentee voter at almost $1 a piece. That's $25,000 almost. That's a lot of money, and that's a lot of attention they're going to get. And that election will get that attention, trust me. I've been in enough elections to know it's crazy when you start getting elections. Go ahead, all of you start running. Put your name on these lawn signs and see what happens. They'll follow you and make sure you're not sleeping at these meetings. So, in all seriousness, I would agree with you 100%, but honestly, I think that August is going to draw out a good number of people. Whether they're for it or against it, I don't know. It's anybody's guess at this point. Sorry. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Mr.
Thank you.
Chair.
No, ma'am. Ma'am, you can't speak from the audience.
That apply for it, yeah.
With that, if I could, listen, we've got it. There's no speaking from the audience, ma'am. This is a Robert's Rules of Order meeting. So if you'd like to speak, you could talk after, or you could speak in the forum after in the study. Ma'am, you can't speak.
Answer that question.
You can't speak from the audience. I'm sorry. With that, I'm going to pass the gavel because I'd like to weigh in on this. Handing it over.
Mr. President,
Yes.
I'm actually going to decline the gavel because I'd like to stay in the conversation.
Okay.
Just to explain, whoever has the gavel is running the meeting.
Yes.
And yes, and I believe you want to pass, you'll have to go to the next senior
Go
member.
to Councilman.
Now, the reason I just want to state, the reason I'm doing this is not to be disrespectful to the president. I chair the budget committee and co-chair or vice chair the capital outlay, and it's imperative that I stay in the conversation here. So we'll turn it over to
Oh, I'm
Ms.
sorry,
Joy.
that's right. You're in the darn
Madam
meeting. All
Chair,
right. Go right ahead.
as a
Yeah.
parliamentarian, could I? Yeah. As a parliamentarian, what you just saw, and I know the council vice president just started explaining that, the president chairs the meetings, and then if the president wants to engage in the conversation as the chair, the president then will pass gavel to the next member, which is the vice president. If the vice president wants to participate, which was what she explained, then that gavel will pass to the next senior member.
I'm the
Laura
senior.
is the senior member.
It's like the Thor hammer. I'm sorry.
And then it would go to myself.
Then it would go to you.
And then it continued down the line. So just in case anyone just saw that parliamentarian procedures just take place, I wanted to make sure we talked about that. Thank you, Madam Vice President, or Madam Chair.
Madam
Get the
Chair.
name straight now. Okay.
Madam Chair, may I have it?
Go ahead. Yeah.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'd like to make a substitute motion. I'd like to make a substitute motion to add the language to include the following buildings. Noble, and I want to highlight that is not a library function.
Point of order.
Yes, go ahead.
I'm stating before.
When a substitute motion is made, I believe, city
That's
attorney,
correct.
do we have to get support for the substitute to even take
I
place?
have to give the motion first.
He needs to make the contents of the motion before getting support.
So I should probably get the motion out before it gets supported. So I will start over. Motion to include the following facilities. Noble, not library. This is the facility in the brick and mortar. Sandburg, non-library, just the brick and mortar. Greenmead Master Plan, and pathways throughout the city. That is my motion.
Thank you. We have that motion that you just heard. Do we have support for the president's motion? See no support, I'll call again. Any support for that motion? Seeing and hearing none, do we have any other motions or comments?
I believe there was already a motion on the floor in the beginning.
I do have another substitute motion.
Okay, go right ahead.
Okay. The next substitute motion, because obviously, for the record, I'm going to state the motion and see. I'd like to put this item into committee of a whole and target the November ballot. Do I have any support?
Is there support for the motion? That lady back there? No. Okay. Sorry, I didn't mean to be.
So that one
yeah.
crashes and burns. I'd like to make a third
Go
substitute
right ahead.
motion.
Go right ahead.
I'd like the verbiage to only include police and fire buildings, nothing else. Do I have support?
Do we have support for the president's motion? Seeing none, hearing none, we don't have support for the motion.
So with that, Madam Chair, may I go back now for speaking on the original motion?
Please, go right ahead.
All right. So listen, the narrative has never been brought forward consistently from the administration. And the narrative has been drawn everywhere. I've heard every rumor out there. I've heard I'm trying to sabotage this project. I've heard that this is going to be the greatest project. There's so much misinformation. I want to set the record straight on why, you come up here, you hear we had 15 to 20 meetings. Let me have factual information, and I'm going to speak long on this. So let's go back. October 14th, 2024, we had a capital outlay and committee and infrastructure meeting. We targeted the A&E, Architect and Engineering Services, for the City Hall that was approved with the bond. Okay? That was the subject matter for the City Hall that was already put in forth with the approval. We then had a meeting on 12/11/24. This was for the construction management of City Hall. And it was also A&E for Architect and Engineering Services for proposed police headquarters. Okay? Then we're going to go to January 22nd, 2025, capital outlay and infrastructure. This meeting, unfortunately, I was not able to make this. I had a prior commitment, and please note that this is a council subcommittee. The council of the whole is the committee that all council members are required to be at. Not saying anything, I probably should have been there, but I'm just putting it on the record. That was all about Plant Moran Rail Point's history, what they've done. It was also a technology component, and there was talk on the plaza and some site planning for the City Hall. Okay? I want to lay out this. What I'm trying to get through is I don't hear anything about the box diagram. 2/5/2025, the layouts, we had another meeting, and those were the layouts that I've been told, but pushing something on the internet, just throwing it out there, that was the version. I'd like to mention that was 2/5 was the first time we seen anything on it. Okay? Next, 3/12, Committee Capital Outlay and Infrastructure. There was costs and new scope, all right, for this downtown. And at that point, I think I was told that, why are you bringing up this now? We've talked about this since 2020, and I said, no, we didn't. So I'm not trying to cast anything. I just would like everybody to have the information so they can see why I made these substitute motions. All right? 4/2, we talked about ballot language. It is 4/28. We haven't had a meeting since. During that time after, many of you know who follow me on social media, I have been very public about some of the costs that I think are not right. And one of the members who I consider a friend brought up 3 things, and I wrote it down. Vision, plan, and hope. Vision, I'm 100% in. Hope, 1,000. Plan, I have some serious reservations. So I want the record to be straight, that I want something. We all do. I look back to when I ran in 2019, and my stump speech is looking at great master plan this community was and how we need to invest and change the backdrop. That's why I got into it, as a municipal worker. I'm not going to sit there and bore you with it. Let's speak with facts. So at the meeting that was prior, I had been bringing up questions on square footage costs and what they're bringing out. That has been a serious component to basically any of my decision-making and questions on this. This is something I do for a living, and right now I could tell you that something that I got back from Plant Moran, it was a snapshot. And right now, I'm just going to tell you very high-level cost. When I break down their pro forma, which I asked for, it shows, hang on, my notes are everywhere, please bear with me, that out of the $150 million that we're asking our residents, it's 96 million, a little over 96 million would be brick and mortar. And let me say, that would be new construction between police and fire station, the expansion in the library. There was also new construction, square footages listed, there was renovation totals, and I added the parking garage that's slated at $5 million. I included the site work and demolition over all the projects at $28,500,000, and I came up with the $96 million out of the 150. So I just want to make sure you guys are following me. So there's 2 fees in here, construction manager fees and costs, $10,180,000. Okay, keep in mind that I got $96 million of brick and mortar. Now, Professional services / fees, $11,950,000. That takes us a total of almost 20% of the brick and mortar that we would get out of this project. Anybody that knows construction, like I do, knows that the rest of the stuff that I'm omitting, including information technology, is called it's an internal fee based by, it's an FF&E, so the owner representative would usually take that. Maybe there's some baked in. I don't want to get into too much craziness, but furniture and fixtures, it's an owner's responsibility. We shouldn't be paying fees on any of that. Permits and regulatory. So permits and regulatory, $450,000. Okay. Owner costs, $265,000. So when it all comes down, now you list out your contingency. The owner construction contingency of $12 million and owner escalation contingency of $8 million. Okay. So when I posted my version and when I asked to add different things, I was met with, oh, you just want to have a blank check to do whatever you want. No, it's far from that, everybody. $150 million based on what the numbers were. The savings could have basically took care of every one of our buildings throughout this city. Every one. Every one that you bring up. Because some of them are big and some of them are just concession stands in the parks. So that 150, I gave an option to maximize the dollars in the event that we had savings. That's all. It wasn't taking anything away from public safety headquarters, because right at that point, their square footage price was close to $980 a square foot. Okay? Please keep in mind that I do work for Northville Township, and we just closed a building with police and TC. We had the temporary C of O for $481 all in, and that's including contingency. So how am I, as a subject matter expert, supposed to be a leader and look at these numbers and go, what's going on? So listen, do I agree with the city hall? Yes, we're pursuing. Do I agree with the public safety headquarters? Absolutely. Do I agree with the $16 million for fire? I think it should be $28 million, because I think we have a lot more need at our fire stations. All right? The other stuff I don't really have context for. And so right now, I'm not trying to be this villain out there crushing this millage. I want to see it happen, and I've tried. And so this forum is about my only spot to do so. So with that, I'm happy that each one of you seen that 3 substitute motions that, in my opinion, make perfect good sense, each one of them, was denied, not even given a chance of a vote. Okay? So I'm glad each one of you are here to listen to that. Listen, I'm trying my best. I am. I'm very disappointed, but at the end of the day, I am going to vote in favor of putting this language on the ballot because it's your decision. As a taxpayer, I'm not 100% on what I'm going to do, but I have some serious reservations of which the administration, who is all here, can get better. They can get this on track. There's time. But I do think that we are out of it. I think that the November ballot would have been a good move. That's why I gave 3 different options, and again, it was met with silence. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Madam Chair?
Yes, go right ahead.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Appreciate it. Thank you to some of the residents that spoke tonight. It's hard because a lot of things that are brought up have been brought up at meetings, or you want to try to answer every single question because naturally you care. And I've made it known to many people that if you have questions, you can reach out to me. I've received a ton of questions from people in the audience and at home. I disagree completely with about 90% of what my respected colleague just had to say. A lot of us have been at all these meetings dating back to, I believe the first meeting we held was March 1st, 2023, and we've had a ton of meetings since then. It's 14 or 15 meetings, and a lot of what we heard this evening, we've deliberated on. We've discussed it. We've talked about breaking up the millages. We've talked about square footage costs. We've talked about the need for this size compared to this size. All this homework has been done. And I have respect for my colleagues, so that set aside, everyone's going to have their own opinions. But it's probably a reason why there wasn't a whole lot of support, because we've already deliberated all of this after countless meetings, after countless hours of discussion, over and over and over again, talking about all this really great information, stuff that should be covered, stuff that should be discussed, and we did it over and over and over again, as we should, because it's our job. But some people have different opinions, and I completely respect that, and I'm okay with that. But we've had a lot of meetings, March 1st, 2023, June 28th, 2023, July 17th, 2023, April 10th, April 17th, April 24th, May 15th, July 8th. The list goes on and on and on of meetings we've had discussing all this really great information that we should discuss. So I'm completely okay with the proposal as proposed to us. There was a few things that were discussed. Again, this is not, a phased 4 millage. This is a millage for municipal buildings. However anyone wants to package it for public safety or downtown, that's not the language. All of this information is available online. Nothing is hidden. Nothing is not shown to the residents. Everything that we see is all available online on our Livonia City Council agenda packets, available for everybody. If you've been to any of these meetings, we want more people to attend, so a lot of these questions that do come up are answered in those meetings. You may disagree, but at least those questions have been brought up, deliberated on, and answered. There was questions about the master plan, and that's a very good question about should the park be 2 acres or 3 acres. That's a very good question, and we continue to engage in those questions. We're not voting on a master plan. We are voting on our municipal buildings. We are voting on the police department, fire stations, the green space area, funding for that. We're voting on infrastructure, pipes, utilities, all those sorts of things that come with construction. There was discussion about professional services contracts. I read that into the minutes maybe 2 months ago. Again, that's all available on the public record. We have to pay architects. We have to pay engineers. We have to pay surveyors. We have to pay traffic consultants. We have to pay construction managers that we all voted on, by the way. Every single contract that was referenced this evening about spending, mind you, every single council member voted 7-0 to approve those dollars. I never heard any issues when we voted on those contractual amounts. Every single member on this council voted to approve those expenditures. The mayor does not get to do whatever she wants. The mayor has to come before city council and get 4 votes. And she didn't get 4 votes, she didn't get 5 votes, she got 7 votes to approve every single professional contract. And there was never any discussion against that. Council was okay voting for those professional contracts, but at the 9th hour, all of a sudden, it's an issue when we're talking about our surveyors and our engineers and our technology consultants, the list goes on. So those are people you have to pay, and we deliberated that a long time ago. There was a few other things that I could kind of touch on, but I think this is fiscally responsible. We have to put money into these buildings one way or another. We're spending good tax dollars on bad buildings, and that's what I find frustrating, is putting that level of money, people's tax dollars, into buildings that are too big or falling apart. And I hope that City Council continues to apply that fiscal responsibility on the administration to make sure that they're not just proposing anything they want to spend. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you very much, Councilman.
Madam Chair?
Councilwoman? Yes.
Thank you. And I respect the council president's passion for these other projects, but we need to stay focused on the project before us. Not to say that other areas of the city don't need to be addressed. Of course they do, but we cannot conflate them with the city center project that we have. In my opinion, that would be a huge mistake. Expanding the project would probably require additional funding, and I'm not prepared to go to the residents at this time for that ask. I'm encouraged by our current plan to only draw $100 million at first, and then up to $50 million. It doesn't say we're going to go out and get that $50 million, up to $50 million, possibly on that second draw. I hope the president is correct. I hope that we can do this for a lot less than what is budgeted for. But we had to be conservative in our budgeting, meaning, you plan for the worst and hope for the best sometimes when you're in construction. The purpose of the 2 draws is to try and keep our expenses down. We may not need it, that second one. It's there as an maximum amount. We should not be trying to create new projects to spend up to the $150 million. That's not what we're trying to do here. I'm also concerned that if we were to add additional items into this project, we would be diverting not only our resources, but our focus from essential projects such as police and fire that really desperately do need our attention. The scope of this project is large. We know that, and we have to make sure we keep it manageable where we're at right now. I'm not prepared to ask our first responders or our residents to wait any longer for better facilities. So the last thing I ever want to do is ask residents to give the city more of their hard-earned money for tax purposes. That's why we structured this with 2 draws. That was to get the mill rate down. That's why we've been very specific on the bond language being proposed tonight, so that investment dollars are used for what they are intended to be used for and only what they are intended to be used for. As Councilmember Donovic has mentioned, we've had countless meetings on this. We've debated this issue from all angles. All the things that you have all brought up tonight, we have debated over and over to come up with the very best plan for Livonia. I truly believe we are here now with that plan for you, and this is why I'm going to be supporting to put this millage and ask the residents to decide in August. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Anyone else? Yes, Councilwoman.
So I want to just take a moment to address the substitute motions that were made. It was mentioned the public meetings that we have had on this topic.
Point of order, we can't really discuss those
yeah.
since, generally
They're
speaking,
done.
yeah. Thank you, sorry.
Thank you. This is what I will say. We've had public meetings to discuss the proposal that is before us right now, which is for a new police station, a new fire department, a library, and a greenway. We've also had countless additional calls and meetings with the administration individually or sometimes with a couple of us to discuss this, because while this is a part-time job for us here on council, we spend full-time hours going and doing this work. And this has not been entered into lightly. And we hear all the things that people are saying and what they have been saying. One of the things we talk about is maintaining our buildings. And that is a big priority to me. Again, we just voted to restructure for this capital improvement position to make sure that our buildings that we currently have and any new buildings that we invest in are being well maintained and taken care of. I thought Councilwoman Tory did a really great job talking about voting and how voting has changed and how we have a really important election in August. I also think this isn't something that should wait. We've waited so long to make investments and address these issues in Livonia. I don't want to wait another 3 months from August to do that. I am hoping that residents will understand. I know that there is a very detailed plan, a rollout plan that starts to go live, presuming a favorable vote tonight, tomorrow morning, where people can get access to information, and that information will continue to be shared in many different forums, virtually, in person, and otherwise, so that voters can clearly understand exactly what they are voting on. Tonight, we are voting on the exact language that you will see on the ballot for a total time of 25 years. And I'll just say, we do live in a democracy, and this isn't a partial library. This is a complete library that will be connected to our city hall, and I think it's great that then more people are going to know where to find us. They'll know how to come to these meetings. They'll know how to come to a commission meeting. They'll know how to, ask questions of the clerk or get paperwork. It's meant to be accessible and a showcase for our community. So I just wanted to add those thoughts. Thank you.
Thank you. Council President?
If I may, listen, I'm not trying to get in a debate, but when we start debating these things, I ask each and every one of you to do your factual information. Do we just spend $1 million on a chiller right outside the library that's being commissioned today? Today, we're going to tear it down. All right? Look at the dates when this committee was changed to being the downtown or civic center compared to the city hall project. Do your research. Because one thing I've learned about politics is the spin zone gets crazy. And I start double checking everything I have. That's why I led with facts. All right? So right now, the original numbers that came out, I have a fuzzy diagram on it because we don't really get the information packets. So the original number dialogue showed $68 million for the police station headquarters. $68 million. And so am I good with the police building? Absolutely. But that's at $980 a square feet, all right? And I want to make it as clear as possible. We need to do something. But right now, the information that's being put in front of us makes 0 sense. I will tell you that as someone that does this. Some of these numbers aren't jiving, and just as other people said, it's like the stock market, in the current stock market. In the morning it's one, at night it's another. Again, do your research. That's all I'm asking. I want this. And I'll tell you behind the scenes that I've made many phone calls, many concessions, But the fact of the matter is I know the language, and the language is not jiving of what Plant Moran Real Point provided us at all. You know, they were telling me that you don't include the square footage price on the entire site. You just do the physical building. I don't know about you, but that's Lawrence Tech 101, that unless it's a renovation, you deal with the square footage costs of the four walls. But on a new development, you add every piece in the GMP, the gross maximum price. And that is one thing that, unfortunately, I've been asking for, and I'm not going to get. Now, here's the deal. Do I want to see this pass? Yes, I want to be in favor of this plan, but it needs to change. And a narrative needs to come out from the administration that is clear and concise for every voter that's out there. That's all I ask. And if anybody wants to debate me on the messaging, then feel free. I could be that meme in the park that says, come debate me, because I'll be there. I'll stand right out here in front of the fountain, and we can talk about it. Anybody knows my phone number? You want to meet for coffee? I'll tell you about it. I'm not against this plan. We need to do something. For us, not doing something is an issue. The problem is what has been put before us makes no sense. All right? So I want to set the record straight. Everything that you've heard here, do your research. Everything's public information. It's online. And make the decision on your own. And in the meantime, I'm going to ask the administration to do better and come back with the voters, because August is a little bit of time away. And if it is going to go forth on it, let's get our stuff together. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Yes. Councilwoman Shield.
Thank you. One of the things I wanted to mention is it will be up to this council and the future council to keep tabs on the money that is spent for this project, to get constant updates, from administration, to make sure that what is being promised to residents in this millage is kept to. So I just want to make sure that that's out there, that this is not just up to this council, but to future councils. So the 20 people that are on the ballot, this is something that you'll need to pay attention to. Also, would it be possible to have the mayor come back up and talk about the website that's going to be available tomorrow? There were a couple questions that asked if this passed, how they would find out. So,
yes, Mayor.
Thank you.
Thanks, Madam Chair. Happy to share with the council where we're at. Should we be successful with the vote this evening, there is a website that's prepared to go live tomorrow, and it includes a lot of that basic information about where the money is going, what it's being spent on, exactly what's included in the millage. We're working on getting a tax calculator loaded onto it, so you put in your address and you'll instantly know what your taxes are going to be. LivoniaBuilt.org is the website. We've been talking about it for a while now. And it not only houses all the information about what's going on with this project, but any of the projects that we're building. This one will be front and center, of course, because it's demanding so much attention. But you can find out about a whole host of other things going on with the rec center build-out, as well as the senior center build-out, Newburgh Village 2. We've got a lot of things going on right now, and they're all there.
Great. Thank you very much for that
Welcome.
information. Appreciate it. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, madam. Okay. Anyone else before we vote on this? Nope. Yes, ma'am. Go ahead. Oh, wait, did she already speak? Did she already speak? Okay, sorry. You can only speak once. According to council rules, that is. Yeah. Sorry. Alrighty. I think I have a motion. Do we have a motion on the floor? Okay, we have a motion on the floor. Madam Clerk, who made the motion? Do you recall?
Motion was made by Councilmember Shields, seconded by Councilmember Donovic.
Okay, all right. We've heard all the discussion from the council and the audience. We can proceed with the vote. Will you take the roll?
Councilmember Donovic.
Aye.
Councilmember McCullough. Sorry.
Aye.
Vice President Tashnik.
Aye.
Councilmember Budzinski.
Aye.
Councilmember Shield.
Aye.
Councilmember Toy.
Aye. Motion passes. Pass the gavel. Back to the president.
I don't want it back.
I didn't want it to begin with.
All right. With that, I'm going to move on to item 14 is a request to amend the Council Resolution 360-24, comes to us from the Department of Public Works, to accurately reflect the monies quoted for the 2025 through 2028 calendar year requirements for the portable toilet program from budgeted funds. Council.
So moved.
Support.
I I got a motion from Donovic, support from Toy. Everyone, this is just a housekeeping issue, just with some legalities. We're just fixing it for the porta potties.
Right.
Any other comments from council? Anything from the audience? Madam Clerk, will you please take the vote?
Councilmember Toy.
Aye.
Councilmember Donovic.
Aye.
Vice President Tashnik.
Aye.
Councilmember Budzinski.
Aye.
Councilmember Shield.
Aye.
President McCullough.
Aye. And just, I'm going to notice, anybody here that's for the study, I'm sorry, we're a little bit overdue. We're going to get through these, probably take a 10-minute recess, stretch the legs, and then we'll be right back to it. So we appreciate anybody that's here for the study. We will get to that. We've got a few more items. Item number 15 is a request to accept grant from the state of Michigan and authorization to purchase one ladder truck. Comes to us from the Livonia Fire and Rescue to replace the apparatus in the current vehicle replacement program with $1 million to be reimbursed from grant funding and remaining costs from budgeted funds. Chief.
So moved.
Support.
Yeah. So, Chief, I'm just excited about the mill.
Well, thank you, President, and thank you, council members. This has been a few years in the making. I approached our state legislators, representatives, and our senators, and asked them if they had any extra money up at the state of Michigan that they could provide for public safety in the city. Last year, they provided us with the information that we were going to be awarded a grant in 2025 for $1 million.
Yep.
You'll also remember last year, we had $300,000 budgeted for turnout gear, which we returned back to the city funds to put with this money because we got another grant, and we had that already budgeted.
I love it.
So we went to the finance director and asked if we could get this lined up for purchase, and she agreed. So from budgeted funds, we'd like to purchase up to $1.8 million from Halt Fire, a 107 Ascendant ladder truck, which would give us better positioning throughout the city for our apparatus. Fits into our apparatus replacement program. We're been about 3 years since we've replaced an apparatus. We try to do that about every 3 to 4 years or so. They last 15 to 20 years with as much as we run them, with the conditions of our roads, conditions of the weather, and it's time for us to look towards the future, especially if you look at the height of our buildings. We're built out in Livonia, so a lot of things are going up, and they're beyond ground ladder capabilities. So we're looking to the future. It still can be used as a pumper, but it gives us the added ability to put up an elevated water stream, get to higher elevations, get to windows, roofs of all the buildings throughout the city.
You had me at $1 million. See what I did there? See what I did?
Very good. Excellent.
Vice President.
Thank you. I just wanted to mention that the LFD has been fantastic stewards of their budget, to be honest, and they've been very prolific in finding grant dollars. They work really hard to make sure they have the funding for the equipment they need to keep us all safe. So just kudos to you, Chief, and your team for continuing that.
Thank you very much,
Mr.
Vice
Chair.
President.
Yeah.
If I may, to the chief, if I may. Chief, I had this question posed to me by a couple of days ago by a friend. When they see an ambulance, there's usually a fire truck with it. Why is that, sir?
Well, generally, our staffing model is we have 2 members of the department on the ambulance and 2 on the fire truck.
Okay.
And I'd always love to add more. But there's a lot of things that need to go on in an emergency scene.
Sure.
And just putting 2 paramedics alone on a critical emergency scene is not serving our public well.
Okay.
So having the extra hands, whether it's to help carry equipment, the patient, many times the patients are critical to the point where one of the members comes off of the engine and drives the ambulance so both paramedics can be in the back taking care of the patient.
Okay. Good. Thank you very much.
Mm-hmm.
For the selfless plug, before I go to the vote, oh no, I'll go after because I don't want to interfere with the rules, but they might have a bowling thing coming up. Any other comments from council? Anything from the audience? Madam Clerk, will you please take the vote?
Councilmember Toy.
Aye.
Councilmember Donovic.
Aye.
Vice President Tashnik.
Aye.
Councilmember Budzinski.
Aye.
Councilmember Shield.
Aye.
President McCullough.
Aye. And now that it's passed,
Thank you very much.
congratulations, honestly.
Thank you.
Give it up. I mean, listen, that's $1 million, all right?
Mm-hmm.
Good work.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Chief. But I was going to say, the selfless plug is we do have a bowling fundraiser coming up for
Our firefighters union, Local 1164, has their yearly charity fundraiser. It's actually being held in Plymouth because it got so big that we needed extra lanes.
Yep.
And it'll be taking place on Saturday, the 3rd.
I tell you what, if you
I believe
haven't
they
been,
still
even
have
if
some
you
lanes
don't have
available.
the if there is some lanes, even not, go out and have a beer and support your fire department.
Yeah, a lot of those funds go to charities.
Yes.
A lot of them go to even our members who are having distress. We've had some medical emergencies from some of our members that have been pretty serious, so in order to assist them with some of their medical funds.
It's a great time, and it's a great cause.
Great. Thank you very much, Council.
Thank you. All right, moving on to always my favorites. Item 16 is an acceptance of donations. Comes to us from the Department of Parks and Recreation from Bill Brown Ford for the redevelopment of Sheldon Park. Good evening, Ted Davis, Director of Parks Recreation, Cultural
you.
Services. Do you got cultural services or no?
No.
Well, hang on, let me get a motion first.
Motion to approve.
Please.
Do I have
No,
support?
thank you.
Support.
Here
That was an
wanted
official act.
to, that wasn't an official act, thank goodness. Wanted to accept the donation from Bill Brown Ford. This is earmarked for Sheldon Park. I'd like to thank Councilmember Rob Donovic for making this introduction and getting us this substantial donation. Sheldon's long been in need of redevelopment, and we're excited to start fundraising for this. And soon we will have a final funding solution for Sheldon coming before the City Council. But this is an incredibly generous first step, and we're very thankful for Councilman Donovic's help and, of course, Bill Brown Ford on this. I don't know if there's anyone from Bill Brown Ford here.
Yeah, good evening, Council. Rich Shearing, Chief Operating Officer for Penske Automotive Group North America. Pleasure to be here this evening and to donate this gift. We were very fortunate to acquire Bill Brown Ford last June. It was previously operated by the 5th generation of the family that's been operating in Michigan since 1919, I think in the city of Livonia since the 50s. And the council and the planning department and Mr. Donovic, we've all been very welcoming of our business as we've started to do business here in Livonia. And as an operating philosophy, it's very important for us to not only be employers of residents in the community, but engaged and giving back to that community as well. So we're very pleased and thankful to be able to give this donation to the city.
Thank you. We appreciate it.
Mr. Chair.
Yes.
I'd like to commend you on, I own a business across the street from you, the florist, and you guys have done a miraculous job of getting rid of the Fiat dealership and cleaning up that area, which is so needed, and then taking over Burton Manor. I mean, it was up one day and gone the next, and a whole bunch of cars appeared all of a sudden. So thank you for all the work you're doing in our city. It's very helpful, and thank you for, obviously, this donation for us.
I appreciate that. We're just
Yes,
getting
sir.
started, and it will continue to look better each day.
It's fun to see your progress.
Yeah, thank you.
Yes, sir.
Councilman Donovan.
Thank you, Mr. President. I want to say thank you to Jeff and Mr. Penske and yourself and the whole Penske team. As you've heard, the Penske Group has bought Bill Brown, and talking to Jeff and some of your people, you guys came in Livonia out of nowhere and just started investing a lot in our community, cleaning up blighted buildings. And the President and I have served on council for a while, and we've always prioritized the south end of Livonia and some of the blight that has occurred in that area. And it's because of corporate stewards like you guys that want to come to our community. You identified blighted buildings, and you didn't just put lipstick on a pig. You knocked them down, and you just invested a ton of money, which helps small business owners in the community, which helps our residents in our community. Jeff has done a phenomenal job in listening to the council and the planning commission and our respective department heads and talking to him. He's like, we want to continue to give back to Livonia and putting our heads together. You're right down the street from Sheldon, and the fact that Mr. Penske and your guys' organization wants to invest this kind of money into a park. Not only do you invest in our buildings, but you're investing in our parks, which are important to our community, and Sheldon Park needs it, and you guys identified that, and without thinking twice, you guys are there and stepping up. So I know on behalf of council and Mr. Davis, our Parks and Rec, and everyone else in Livonia, that means so much that Mr. Penske and his entire team isn't just talking a big game, it's really coming behind our city and helping out our community. That's huge, and thank you to the Penske organization and Bill Brown and everyone that made this all possible.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Anything else from council? I got to tell just one funny story before we go to the vote. Mr. Penske When I was a young lad, I used to play for the Southfield Hockey Clinic. And Mr. Penske sponsored the entire clinic because I think at that point, some of his relatives were huge in the Southfield Hockey Club.
Yeah.
And so it was all over everything. So if you do tell him, pass it along that one of his old Southfield friends says thank you. Bringing it over to Livonia.
Yeah, thank you.
I'll go to the audience now. Does the audience have any communication on donations? All right. Seeing none. Madam Clerk, will you please take the vote?
Councilmember Toy.
Aye.
Councilmember Donovan.
Aye.
Vice President Tashnik.
Aye.
Councilmember Budzinski.
Aye.
Councilmember Shield.
Aye.
President McCullough.
Aye. And the motion carries 6-0. We're going to move on to item number 17 as a request for permission from Wayne County to close a portion of Farmington Road to host the Livonia's annual Memorial Day ceremony. This comes to us from the Parks and Recreation to close Farmington Road north and southbound from 5 Mile to Roycroft and 5 Mile to Shadyside to Farmington Road on May 24th from 8:30 a.m. to 10 a.m.
Thank you, Council President. Ted Davis,
Hang on.
representing Parks and Recreation. This is simply a housekeeping matter.
Yep, I got to get a motion.
Perfect.
Motion approved.
Support.
All right. The floor is yours again. You have to do the intro again. I don't know who you are.
Well, I honestly, when you got an approving motion, you're supposed to just be quiet.
I agree.
So,
It's true.
I think
So
you're
true.
doing good.
Mr. Chair?
Yes.
I'll help Mr. Davis out. This is an amazing event that they have the Saturday before Memorial Day every year, and it's very solemn and it's very serious and touching, but it's amazing at the same time, and I'd love to see this continue on. So
yes, thank you.
there you go.
Thank you. Anything else from council? Anything from the audience? Madam Clerk, will you please take the vote?
Councilmember Toy.
Aye.
Councilmember Donovan.
Aye.
Vice President Tashnik.
Aye.
Councilmember Budzinski.
Aye.
Councilmember Shield.
Aye.
President McCullough.
Aye. Item 17 carries.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Davis. Moving on to item number 18 is a request to waive the city's formal bidding process and approve an animal sheltering agreement between the City of Livonia and the Michigan Humane Society. Comes to us from the Department of Public Works, the Animal Control Division, for a period of 3 years from January 1st, 2025 to December 31st, 2027. Council.
So moved.
Support.
I have motion from Toy, support from Budzinski. I'll hand it over to Mr. Jezwicki.
Good evening, Council. Rob Drzwicki, Director of Government Affairs and Outreach on behalf of our friends at the DPW. I do have Doug Moore as DPW backup if any of those more technical questions do come up. This is a question that has been called by this council a number of times. We already have an item in committee. I believe it is in the Health and Safety Committee right now. Further discussion should be warranted in the future, but for now we need to maintain our contract. Just a bit of background. Currently, we are in contract for $72,000 a year, approximately $6,000 per month. Last year in May, the Michigan Humane Society came to us with a proposal that was quite a bit higher than that, $249,000 a year plus $120,000 in capital improvements. 5 times what we were paying at the time. We immediately reached out to our community partners. We went out for an RFP. The only respondent to that RFP was the Michigan Humane Society. This isn't one of those things that the county helps with or subsidizes, so it becomes difficult to find folks to take care of these things. Along with our partners, we winnowed that down to $130,000 a year, which is still far more than what we were paying. However, we are on 4 months worth of extension, so I think we made up some of that money with paying the previous rate. So we are asking for an approval on this so we can continue this contract, but would like to discuss further what our options are going forward to protect us against any more raising of price.
Thank you. Vice President.
Thank you, Mr. President. So I know we've got like a 45% increase this year, which hurts my stomach a little bit. We're just over a barrel here, aren't we, on this a little bit?
Mm-hmm.
For now.
Yeah. Because, I mean, and when people see this, they're going to be like, are there no other viable options? What's going on? But when we look at it, there's a proposed 26% increase again in 2026, another 26% in 2027, and quick math lesson, because, it's my day job, as we like to say. That's a 235% increase going from 2024 to 2027. $5,900 to almost $20,000 a month is insanity. So I know we're over barrel and we don't really have much option here, but we do need to look at this and, whichever committee it's in, I think we need to get that handled.
I will speak on behalf of our DPW and our ACO, our Animal Control Officer. They are ready and waiting to give council as many great options and cost-efficient options for this council as is humanly possible.
I appreciate that. And I am not holding DPW at harm for this. I'm just saying it's something we need to take care of immediately.
Can it wait a year?
Councilman Donovan?
Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. Druzicki, thanks for being here this evening with us. This has been an ongoing issue for a long time, and as you stated earlier, no one else is taking care of these abandoned animals, and the Humane Society is charging a lot to the tune of $19,835 a month in year 2027. So I did, in reading the packet, we can exit this contract within 6 months' notice, correct?
That's correct.
So if we find some sort of alternative, we're not bound by this long-term, we can exit when it's convenient for us.
Absolutely.
Right.
Thank you,
Mr.
sir.
Chair.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Councilman Toy.
That brings up a point that really, when you're considering another animal in your family, which, I've never seen so many animals, people are just, I'm not saying all people, but a lot of people are dumping their cats and dogs on the streets. And you look at Facebook and they don't know where these animals are coming from, and the shelters are full. And it's quite a sad situation. So, the Humane Society is one of the only games in town, as you pointed out. And, that begs of when you're getting a new animal, in fact, I'm thinking of one, is to get a rescue because the Humane Society has plenty of dogs and cats there, and it's at little or no cost in many cases. I think one of those law firms is offering to pay right now. So, go out and get yourself a nice dog and be good to it, and don't dump it on the street. So, anyhow, thank you for all you guys are doing on this. It's a tough one. Thank you.
As the father of 3 furry friends that are rescues, along with 2 human children, I couldn't agree more.
Great.
Awesome. Thank you. Anything else from council? Mr. Martin?
Yes, Christopher Martin, the great state of Michigan. And when this was on the agenda last time, young Mr. Donovic had mentioned we can't keep kicking the can down the road. And that's one of the few times I'm going to agree with him on something, okay? Because also during the COVID period of time, the shelters were pretty much empty. People were home.
That's right.
They wanted a little friend or a buddy or whatever, and as soon as they went back to work, you know where the little buddy went?
Yep.
Back to the shelter. Okay? So I guess this is basically referring to probably more than anything stray dogs. Okay? That would be my belief, although it wasn't stated. But years ago, there was a stray that in the neighborhood that somebody had dumped, a female shepherd that had just had a litter, and I took that dog, and it became great. Very loyal, very faithful, and very happy for a good home after being on the street. But not every animal that you adopt is going to be nice. Some are going to turn on you, and they need to be put down, okay, period. And so always been in favor of that. And you never really know, because the past history of an abused animal can be difficult, and you're not going to realize it until it happens, and they turn on you or one of your family members. So you have to be very careful about that. But the situation needs to be resolved long-term at some point in time, and I'll be looking forward to young Mr. Donovic's solution to this and some of his ideas in the future, because you can't keep paying this. You can't ask the taxpayers to keep paying this, okay, for certain individuals that love animals, but, as soon as there's a problem, then they set it out on the street.
That's time, Mr. Martin. Thank you, though. All good points. Anything else from the audience? Madam Clerk, will you please take the vote?
Councilmember Toy.
Aye.
Councilmember Donovan.
Aye.
Vice President Tashnik.
Aye.
Councilmember Lazinski.
Aye.
Councilmember Shield.
Aye.
President McCullough.
Aye. Motion carries 6-0. Moving on to item number 19 is a request for an additional expenditure. Comes to us from the Engineering Division for the Merriman Road Water Main Improvement Projects on Plymouth Road to CSX Railroad right-of-way. Council.
So moved.
Support.
Mr. Zelinski, you just want to give us a brief overview?
Quick, brief overview.
Yep.
Obviously, Wayne County has jurisdiction on Merriman Road. We had to take the existing water main and put it underneath the road, about 5.5 feet away from the curb, get away from 2 energy transfer lines that were abandoned that had to be removed during this construction, along with an existing one that had to be maintained, in addition to putting in the new road, as you saw, from July till December. I want to appreciate the business owners and the obviously the residents that lived along that corridor that suffered through that project from July to December. It's probably one of the, I'd say, the longest project I had to deal with for the water main, and I do apologize for the delay that caused, but it was an effort to make sure that we put the 2,000 feet of water main, 12-inch underneath the road, to make sure we don't have any more breaks to discomfort the businesses and residents along that corridor. But appreciate allowing me to put on this item, and appreciate your help. Just want to make a quick note. The second low bidder that would have went to was $300,000 more, almost the cost that we're talking about this evening, and for HRC's input. It took 3 years to design this, and then actually execute it was from July to December, so thank you.
It sounds like this has been kicked down the road a little bit.
It needed to be done, so thank you for your support.
Sounds like a party underneath for utilities. Nice work to you and your team. Any other questions from council? No. Audience? Madam Clerk, will you please take the vote?
Councilmember Toy?
Yes.
Councilmember Donovic?
Aye.
Vice President Tashnik?
Aye.
Councilmember Budzinski?
Aye.
Councilmember Shield?
Aye.
President McCullough?
Yes. Just going with you. Yes. With that, yes.
Yes.
That takes us, believe it or not, to the end of the regular meeting.
Believe it.
Can I have a motion?
So moved.
Well, hang on. Let me just do this.
Audience.
Listen, I almost got you. Going back to the audience for items that are not on the agenda. Yep. No, you didn't speak during regular, did you? No.
I did, but this is not regular.
Good. You got 3 minutes.
One thing, I would like the city to check their website. When you have to write in a question, you get a map of the city. When you click on that, you get another map of the city. You can never write a question to the city because it keeps popping up maps. Now, if you're in the city and you're on the city intranet, it works and you can pop in and do it. But I suggest they go home and try on their home computers to see if it works that way. Also, if you try to write, and I don't like picking on the mayor more than I have to, but I wrote the mayor's office my question after writing the city council the same question. I got back telling me I needed to use the form from that page, but that page doesn't work. So I don't know who to tell in the city administration because their website doesn't work.
No wonder why we have 100% success rating. There's no problems.
Right. So anyway, if you could fix that, would be great.
We'll look into it. Okay. Thank you. Anybody else? All right. Council, I got a motion?
Mr. Chair,
Yeah.
let's motion to adjourn.
Support.
I think I can safely show everybody. See you in 10 minutes. Me too. Yeah.